Zachary Root immediately lights up a room with his exuberance, humor, and innate curiosity. He talks a lot and draws you in with his infectious smile and bright eyes. Those who know him find it hard to believe he was born deaf. Jessica Chaikoff melts your heart as she enthusiastically describes her future career in the sciences, which includes helping others. She learned how to overcome daunting obstacles as a toddler, and her continued drive and habit of perseverance is highly inspiring. Like Zachary, she too was born deaf. Dory, Andy, Aram, Brendan, Finley, Rachel, and Juanito were also born deaf. While each of these impressive people and their parents have productively structured their lives to cope with hearing loss, what they did not bargain for was the devastating news that they will also lose their vision. For many of them, this news did not come until years after their diagnosis of hearing loss. What they share in common, in addition to their positive dispositions and through no fault of their own, is an inherited faulty gene. Their condition is called Usher-1F syndrome, and currently, there is no cure. People with Usher-1F are not only born deaf, but they struggle with balance. Very unfortunately, their vision also starts deteriorating, usually during childhood, and they have poor night vision. Then, there is a gradual narrowing or tunneling of their vision until they are completely blind during adulthood. Why is there no cure for this cruel disease? For several reasons. Rare diseases are difficult to diagnose because their underlying biology is complex and poorly understood. Doctors therefore don't see them, sending patients and parents into a diagnosis odyssey of sorts, which is emotionally exhausting, can take years, and sadly, fear begins to overtake hope. In addition to complicated pathogenesis, rare diseases are overlooked because they affect small numbers of people. Even once the biology is somewhat uncovered, there are not enough incentives to make a drug. Even though the Orphan Drug Act of 1983 created federal grants and other incentives for rare diseases, and the Human Genome Project, completed in 2003, gave way to gene mapping and new data for development of specialized therapies, these advances aren't yet enough for those with Ush-1F, as the clock outpaces their sight. Considering this fact, some extraordinary people stepped up to the plate. Dr. Elliot Chaikoff and his wife Melissa took matters into their own hands. With two young adult daughters facing the realities of losing their sight, after successfully navigating their hearing impairments throughout childhood and adolescence, time was not their friend. Early in their journey, they met Rachel and Jared Root, also racing the clock for their son Zachary.
You know, I started talking to him and saying, look, if we don't do it, nobody's gonna do it, or we're gonna wait, they're gonna get left behind.
The way I tell the story is my kids and wife approached me and they said, you know, you may be a Harvard professor in a department chair, but you're sort of worthless to us. So I did what department chairs are very good at, which is I called the meeting, and we formed a 501c3.
Again, so now we fixed the hearing loss and now our son's gonna go blind. I mean, it was just
Right.
terrible. And then I went on the computer and I Googled, and very quickly I spoke to Melissa.
It was the next step of, it was like going through like the hearing loss, like somebody told us about Dr. Rowland, and then we met him and we had some happiness and excitement that this could be resolved. And I come back in and she's on the phone with Melissa.
Like, I think we have some hope.
And
Like it was
like the next step of
pathway.
our journey.
This team immediately knew that they needed more than motivated parents to start a high-impact, non-profit organization with laser focus on the exact research to find a cure for Usher-1F. As soon as the team incorporated their 501c3 non-profit as the Usher-1F Collaborative, they assembled a highly credentialed board and an international scientific advisory council. Knowing that hope and passion are necessary, but not a strategy, they built a cohesive business plan to support the right kind of research and to attract the best and brightest minds around the globe. They engaged scientists from multiple continents, including but not limited to Drs. Monte Westerfield and Jennifer Phillips at the University of Oregon Institute of Neuroscience, Dr. David Corey from Harvard Medical School, and Dr. Zubair Ahmed from the University of Maryland School of Medicine.
In addition to being an outstanding scientist who's changed the way we think about the function of our critical sensory systems, he's really an outstanding translational investigator who really wants to push the results of his observations and findings towards therapeutic interventions for patients. And he does so in an equally as elegant a way, approaching the problem from a variety of different perspectives. At the end of the day, you need to have a lot of shots on goal.
So what happens here is what's happened almost every time someone has developed an effective therapy for a rare genetic disease. And that is that the first person that does that, the first company that does that, charts a path, not only through the clinic, but also through the academic institutions and through the patient advocacy groups, and also the FDA. And so once that path is charted, and once they demonstrate that they can charge a reasonable price for their therapy, that other people come in and say, I know what to do right now. I know what endpoints I have to hit. I know what docs I have to convince. I know how to get through the regulatory agency here. And then multiple drugs come in.
I'm really, really hoping that people continue to donate and we continue to have funding sources for research to continue. To look for a cure, or to at least restore vision in some capacity. The best, well, I think of being able to see my grandchildren in the future and having that ability, and live a good, long life with good vision.
In addition to world-renowned scientists, the team engaged leaders who understand the therapeutic supply chain, from research to clinical trials, through the market, and to the end user, the patient. In 7 years, this team has accomplished unprecedented results. They realized a total investment of $6 million in 8 research labs, where there were none in 2014. They partnered with Foundation Fighting Blindness to initiate a natural history study, an essential step providing necessary data for clinical trials. They developed a zebrafish model, now being used to test gene and drug therapies. They used gene therapy to restore hearing in a mouse model. And, most exciting of all, they now have at least one gene therapy which is believed to be 3 to 5 years from human testing. They are truly at a pivot point, on the cusp of huge success. The team is resolute in their vision for a cure, and this has attracted individual foundation and corporate donors such as the Chan Zuckerberg Foundation, the Gantz Family Charitable Foundation, Daniel and Eva Abraham, the Ardent Companies, Kellogg's, and others. It is essential that we obtain additional donors and philanthropic investors at this precise moment in time who are motivated by our quest. Specifically, $10 million is needed in the next 2 years to accelerate human trials resulting in a therapy. You can help us realize this dream, not just for those featured in this video, but for many others. Imagine what our success will do for the world and a new way to treat devastating rare diseases and unnecessary suffering. I know this is achievable, and I know firsthand the impact of generosity. because I am the mother of an amazing 21-year-old son with Usher1F. Aram has so many gifts to unveil as he continues to build his future. As his mum, I seek light, and such light is highly possible if we all work together. Now is the time to do so, and this is the exact right organization to make this cure possible. From all of us, from darkness to light, we thank you.